All right, welcome to the August 29th edition of the Helm Developer Call. Um, let's see, we'll talk about announcements, go through stand-up, and have any discussion. As far as announcements, two big ones. Beta 1 and Beta 2 got released this week, which is huge. Thanks for everybody who crammed at the end, getting stuff done, and as well as getting stuff fixed for Beta 2. Martin, thanks a lot for your help with that. And let's jump right into stand-ups. Butcher, you want to start?
Sure. Last week I was at Open Source Summit talking about Helm. We did Karen Chu, who's our community manager, and I did a talk about 7 hard lessons learned in open source. That was about some of the things we've learned and discovered while doing Helm, and it was kind of fun. And then we did some Helm booth duty while we were out there. This week I've mainly been cheering the releases of the beta, so I haven't really done much work on things other than bouncing ideas off of people and commenting on issues. I will pass on to Josh. Did I see Josh just join? Josh.
Hey, yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, no one's talking. Okay. So I worked on update to the Oros library for a new version of Containerd. Got that in just before the beta went out. Besides that, getting ready for Helm Summit stuff. That's about it. I came in late. Martin?
Hi, folks. Thanks, Josh. I was on leave for the last few weeks, so just before I went, I got the migration proposal in and the plugin in. So thanks to people that have jumped on it so far. Remus has been on it, and there's actually been uptake from other people as well. So that's good. So we'll see what we can do now. I'll put something in discussion for later if we get time. Also, the bumping the API version up, the chart API version up to V2 was closed. So thanks to the PRs got in, and the last one was docs. So thanks to Fisher for doing that while I was away. And as Adam said there, so I was doing some shepherding during the week with the beta 1. It kind of a lot of things started going in on European time. The next time people have problems, please do it in US time, you know. So, but so I was kind of like the house was on fire for a while, and there was lots of questions coming in from Slack and stuff. So thanks to all the people actually that put in PR fixes. I was mostly just doing review and shepherding along, and my own PR. Adam came in with a better version of that, so that was good. So we got I reviewed that last night. So thanks to Adam for merging it and getting a new cutout, because there was just a few issues here and there around using repos and so forth. Apart from that, I'm just getting ready for the Helm Summit as well. And I will hand over to, trying to see who's next, to Matt Farina.
Who can't find his unmute button. This week, I did a little bit with Helm v3, some reviews. I spent a bunch of time. So with Fisher out, someone's got to go through and triage things. And so I continue to spend some time triaging, although I've missed out on that the last couple of days. And then over on the Helm Hub side, we ran into an interesting bug we had to deal with this week. So it turns out in Kubernetes 1.14, which I upgraded to cluster 2 last week, if you hit 501 jobs in the cluster, cron jobs stop scheduling new jobs. And this is not fixed in the latest. It is waiting to be cherry-picked, but it is a known issue with 1.14 that I got known for last. We figured it out earlier this week. This was Adnan is the one who discovered all of this. But yes, it's a known bug, and so we had a bunch of failed jobs sitting there, and so we had basically reduced the number of jobs in the cluster. that were sitting there finished, and it started back up again. So we're, yeah, for everyone who's looking at me that way, yes, that's true. If you have 502, it won't. It's 501 and more, it stops. That's just, it's a bug. It's fixed in 115. 114.6 does not have the fix cherry picked in yet. But we got a working system for now in the cluster, and we'll go tackle the rest upstream and get that cherry pick moving along, I guess. Hopefully 114.7 will have it. So I spent some time on that. And so with that, who has not gone?
You should have Bridget go too.
What was that?
Bridget,
there you go.
Oh, hi. Last week, 2 talks at Open Source Summit, one about Helm and one about all of the CNAB, Gatekeeper, all of the other projects that we're involved with. Next week, talking about Kubernetes tooling, Helm will be mentioned at DevOps Days Cape Town, and then on to Helm Summit. So I'm a little bit behind on everything, such as the result of travel.
do you happen to know if there were any updates from Ronan and Luke on documentation for Helm 3?
I'm not positive. Why don't I take a look at that and report back later today?
Okay, I believe that's all of the core team. Anybody else on the call like to give a few compliments about the beta? I mean, have any comments for the meeting?
I did successfully get CRDs installed as expected using beta 1. That was pretty exciting.
Nice job on the beta 2 release.
Thank
Pretty it was pretty surprising for just one line of code broke Helm. I was surprised, but yeah, good job. Also, if we get time, could we discuss, I had a question about the -X in Helm template, if we get time, that is.
Okay, there was a couple of discussion items on here. Josh, you wanted to talk about the acceptance testing?
Yeah, really quick. I'm very excited about the beta, by the way, if I don't seem so. So the acceptance testing repo came out of a discussion with Taylor about, can we make sure that the wait flag works on multiple Kubernetes versions? So if we use the wait flag, will all the deployments be running on 114 and 115? So I put that together, and then somebody made a PR to which I think Farina or someone else said maybe this is better for this project, and it was about does Bash and Z shell and all these different shells work with shell completion? And so I guess this kind of came out organically, but I'm wondering, should we define maybe some higher level goals for what that project does, and what are people's thoughts about what that should be?
Oh, I don't have any initial thoughts. I've been meaning to get more up to speed on that project, so I'm planning on doing that right next week.
Yeah, so I put the requirements in there. If you have Docker and Kind installed, you should just be able to run make test or something, and it just runs. But yeah, I mean, I was talking to Matt Farina. I think the goals of it should be once Helm is built, does Helm work in its out in the wild in its target environments? So I can put together a thing, but I just don't want to overlap, I guess, with what belongs there versus in the Helm project testing.
Right. So are you wanting to define some boundaries for it so we don't?
Yeah, I'm not testing source code. That's the one thing I'm thinking about. But there's nothing like that in place in Helm right now, right?
No, there isn't.
Okay. Well, yeah. If no one has any thoughts, I'll just put together like some high level goals. That's it.
Okay, cool. And then Martin, you want to talk about Helm 2 to Helm 3 migration?
Yeah, so I just want to give an update on where we are on that. So it's kind of if you look at the feature, I've filled it out in it where a lot of what we're looking at is some of it will be covered through documentation in relation to if somebody has an already installed Helm 2 system and they want to just install Helm 3 and start working forward then with Helm 3. Or probably the other use case then is if they have existing releases that they want now managed by Helm 3, how do they do that? So that's where the plugin kicks in. So I suppose what I'm looking at here is if I know we're trying to get release out the door and the highest priority is to get those things out the door, but maybe if we can also engage in some of the migration stuff as well, maybe around the doc, if we can do some reviews around the doc and say, right, let's get it to a certain level and we can pull it up out into is it WW Helm project, I think, where the docs are now. That's one aspect of it. I just covered use cases there. And the other aspect then is how do we feel about the plugin? So there was very good feedback from the proposal from a number of people. And I took that on board and basically used for getting the Helm 2 information, for using some of the capabilities done by Mayfair and his project, and then also then going through the APIs for V3 for storing directly into it. So I suppose if we can get a set of eyes on it, if anyone gets some bandwidth to put a set of eyes on it, I know Remus has been looking at it, and there's other people, I didn't realize other people from outside the community started to engage as well on it, and one person in particular is doing a PR at the moment to bring it up to the beta, to use it with beta. So I suppose it's kind of where we want to go around migrations and stuff going forward, and what our goals are for maybe the release or post-release.
Okay, was there anything specific you were wanting to discuss, or just bring it up as just?
Well, I suppose bring it up where we want to go, and if someone wants to get a set of eyes on the doc, provide any comments, and also on the plugin. I suppose then if we're happy then with the plugin, I suppose the goal of the plugin when we had when we raised the community ticket was to make that part of the Helm organization.
Martin, Remus.
Hi, Remus.
Yes, hi. So I see you checking the running tiller for version V2 as well. You really need that to check? Shall we just check for releases in the default tiller namespace or provided tiller namespace and you just fetch from here? Or do you have to actually running both version V2 tiller and client as well of V3 to do the migrations? Is that not too complicated?
Yeah, that's probably a good point. It's maybe I can have a look at that if we don't need it running or not. Yeah, that's a good point. I suppose how I tested it at the time was around an existing V2 system, so that's why tiller was running. But the key aspect really is you probably won't need it because you should be able to now get at the config maps directly.
Yeah, config map for secrets, and if no namespace provided for tiller reviews in kube system default one, if provided, we check that namespace. That should be enough, and we don't really be running. Like in my case, I never run tiller in cluster, so that plugin fails for me because it looks for tiller all the time.
Yeah,
so that will make it simpler, I think.
Yeah, I hope to get that get back to that tomorrow. It's just I got a bit swamped after coming back from holidays, so
I will check that at the Helm Summit because I'm on holidays tomorrow. After a straight to a Helm Summit.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Okay, that's all for me then.
Yep. Cool. Thank you.
Okay, and then real quick, did we want to do some assignments? Anybody for notes next week?
I can do notes.
And anybody for moderator?
I can do moderation.
Cool, thanks, Josh. Let's see, and what was the other discussion topic not on there?
If possible, can we discuss about the -X and Helm 3? Just had some doubts regarding like why it was removed. Because like we are trying to use it with customize in a way, like trying to take individual Helm templates and like put it through customize and get like overlays working. So we saw some examples of it in Helm 2 and it worked perfectly. So just wanted to know like why was it removed. So I did read a issue and some comments. I think Matt was working on the Lua stuff, and I think the -X was kind of causing some issues. So I just like wanted to know as to like why it was removed, because I felt like it was a great like it was a nice addition to Helm template.
Was it? Yeah, it was just on Helm template, right? We didn't have it on any other commands. Yeah, we removed it earlier because I was going to cause problems with the Lua runtime. However, we could add it back at this point, I think, because, well, part of the other reason it was removed was because we were trying to merge the logic between dry run and template, and I didn't actually realize anybody was using that flag. So now that that has all been merged and everything got cleaned up, it might be fairly easy to add that back. If I recall, you just tell it which template you want and it prints out, or which manifest you want, and it just prints out that one manifest. We might use this as an opportunity, though, to redesign it to be a little more intelligent, too, where we could say, print out just the deployment named X or the service named Y. Would that be, do we want to take an opportunity here to see if we can add a minor feature in here that would make it easier, or has it been working fine the way it is?
I could work on it, like to get it to pass the individual template and then apply the values, like do it a little more intelligently. Maybe I'll put up a proposal and then we could review it and go further from there.
Yeah. Okay, since this is mainly just an output formatting issue, I think it would be okay to add it in the beta timeframe, because I think it should just, basically, I think it'll constitute returning the manifest that you normally print out and just scanning through it and chopping out the pieces you want if we do it this way. So, yeah.
No, just an FYI, it's kind of part of a bigger, so when the predictor, they came in simultaneously, two separate issues came in around templating. So one was the -X just mentioned, and the other then was around another argument. So if we look at it, most of the specific flags that were in Helm templating in V2 were dropped in V3. So I suppose the question is how many of them we want to bring back in, and do we just want to do those two use cases that are in the description, or what do we want to do really?
Yeah, I had been optimistic, hoping that template and dry run would fade away and template would be the last thing remaining, because without tiller, the primary reason for having template exist as a local renderer and dry run exist as a remote renderer was to show you any potential differences, and that reason is gone now. But if there are things that make sense to add in to template, I don't know. I guess I'm not opposed. It'd be nice if we could gradually settle on either template or dry run.
Okay.
That said, I don't have strong opinions about that.
Okay, so are we good on that then?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, and I guess bottom is that it got refactored out when we merged the pipelines between template and the regular rendering engine, and it just didn't get added back in. So, I mean, it's something we can add back in. It's useful. Okay, and then Radu, you had a discussion topic?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? It's a bit loud around me. Last night there was an OCI call, and one of the discussion items was around the newly merged artifacts proposal, and specifically was around content trust for the artifacts proposal. And people discussed the possibility of using a tough specification for that, and it was a general agreement that that would be a good idea. There was more or less agreement that that's a good idea, but the actual implementation around how to do it was in discussion. So if people are interested about, and since Helm is one of the artifacts in the OCI artifact proposal, I thought it'd be nice if people are interested in content trust verification and tough verifications for Helm charts to join the discussion. And I played around with the idea during the weekend, and I have a draft pull request that does that takes the signature and digest of a bundle and stores it in a tough collection. So if people are interested in that, feel free to join the conversation, or I'm happy to talk about it, since we're more or less going through the same process for CNAB as well.
Great, thanks, Radu. Does anybody have any burning desires? Last 5 minutes.
I just wanted to bring some attention on the two PRs that I had raised some time back regarding Helm ENV and I think something related to linting. I'll put it on the Helm Dev channel. So if you could get that reviewed, that would be awesome.
I do have a review in progress that you'll get here later today. I do have a couple of changes to request. I was thinking through different implications, stuff like that. So that's why it's taking me a little bit to get to it. But you'll get a review later today on it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, great. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you very much. This is great.
Thank you. Thank you.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.